Pobierz aplikację TVP Sport i oglądaj wszystkie transmisje w najlepszej jakości. Linki do sklepów znajdziesz w opisie.
Mike, once again, thank you for having some time for me. And we are just a few days from maybe the biggest fight of Dustin Poirier career, and I want to talk about it. But first thing first, I have to give you the credit and just remind you how you were right about this guy behind me and this fight. And when I was talking about Gaethje versus Holloway, I was thinking about he might be knocked out. And as it seemed, you and Mateusz Gamrot and Dustin were all right about this fight.
Yeah, that's not always the case, but sometimes they fall in your favor. MMA can be hard to predict, but that was one that I thought Max would be able to handle.
Yeah, definitely, and he did it in so great fashion, and I hope that something like that might be waiting for Dustin this week. And when I think about your coaching career, you've had so many great fighters and world champions around you, but I think that you are the most iconic duo. And I don't know why is it this image in my head, but this duo, it seems to me like I don't know if you have the greatest bond or you are just working so long with Dustin.
Yeah, we've been together a long time. This is like since 2012, right when I started coaching. In 2012, I had a neck surgery, and I was still going to continue to fight. I had a cervical neck fusion, was still going to fight, but I was injured, and I started at that time taking on a coaching role at ATT. So I was like coach/fighter still at this point. And that's at the same point when he moved to the gym. And at the time we were the same weight class. So obviously, we were good training partners for one another, good drill partners. So, we had a good bond and we became good friends. But yeah, it's been 12 years now, and I'm not sure how many fights, but probably 25 fights or something like that. And no, DP is amazing. One of the best to ever do it.
Yeah, definitely. So you've known him for so many years and to so many stages of his career. How do you think, how could you describe Dustin when you met him for the first time and now? I think I might be totally wrong because I don't know him as a person, but it seemed to me like he was much more aggressive, maybe violent fighter, but not inside the cage. He was like, I don't know, like this angry young person. And now he's a husband, he's a dad, and he's completely different, I think maybe outside the cage, but I don't know if that's truly the case.
I think that's pretty accurate. I think he was like, kind of a violent, young, angry guy, in
like a street guy.
Yeah. I should not violent towards, the wrong people, but he was but an angry kid at the time. I say kid, but he was in early 20s. But I mean, he in 12 years, going from your early 20s to now your mid 30s, you're a completely different person, right? We all are. We all mature an unbelievable amount in that decade. It's your mindset and the way you carry yourself and your goals in life are dramatically different. And yeah, I mean, he is a family guy, 100%, and he's kind of always been like that. And that's what I think what resonates with the fans so much, and that's why people love him so much, right? Because he's like kind of the average guy like that, and great dad, great husband, and badass fighter.
Yeah, definitely. So when we are talking about his career, what do you think was the turning point of Dustin? And it's not like, maybe it might sound like I don't know, making a big farewell for Dustin, but it's not like that. I think that it's just the kind of fight when you can think and talk about all these previous years. And correct me if I'm wrong. I think the first Conor McGregor fight might be a turning point. Definitely weight class because he then decided to go up in weight. But I don't know if maybe that was also the fight that showed him how he can or should be more composed. I mean emotionally, and how that would play a big part for him in his favor.
Yeah, I mean, you learn something from every one of them. I think the Conor fight was a big one, and that was probably the fight where, yeah, we made the decision that it would be a better idea to go out. I was saying it for a while, and I think, he was a bit nervous about change and wasn't so certain, like in his mind, he worked so hard to build himself up to like the top 5 of the featherweight division. Yeah. He was just afraid he was going to lose it all by moving up. But he wasn't a great fighter because he was cutting weight. He was a great fighter because he is who he is, because his skills and his natural abilities. So that was a big change there. But I think the biggest change in his mentality going into fights was after the Michael Johnson fight. Mm. After that, because he always came out and was very aggressive early and was looking to finish the guy or blow the guy out early in the first 2 minutes. And he's got incredible conditioning, and it just didn't make sense, why he was doing that. And it would work most of the time. Yeah. 4 out of 5 times, 3 out of 4 times, he would get an incredible knockout, putting pressure. And I mean, he would put pressure on guys and just start throwing hard early and get a lot of guys out of there. But guys are also very dangerous in that time period, right? That's in that first couple of minutes, they're at full power. Everybody's fighting a little nervous and winging punches, and you get hit, you can get hurt as well. And I think that was the one where, we realized that, dude, you don't have to have this fight decided in that first minute and a half. Let it play out, take your time, set things up, and break guys down a little bit, be a little safer. And then he started. The next fight after that was the Jim Miller fight, and I believe that was the first fight where he really started to slow things down a little bit, until he got cracked. Then he went, full Dustin mode and went after him. But there was a change and moving into a different direction.
Yeah, definitely. So when I look at his career and how many world champions was he fighting, it seems to me even incredible that he never had the undisputed title. And I think when I look at the UFC history, I don't know, it should be either him or Tony Ferguson as the greatest lightweight not to have this belt. This one is his great opportunity. And I spoke to Mateusz Gamrot yesterday, and he said that in his opinion, Islam might be more stylistically suitable for Dustin than Khabib. And do you agree with that? And if so, why?
Well, for sure, I agree with that. But I don't want to go into details of why.
Yeah, sure.
Because that will kind of give away some holes that we see or kind of some game plan that we're going to follow. But I do believe that to be true. I do believe their overall game is similar, where they're big, strong lightweights that the base of their game is to take a guy down and wear him out and beat him up from top pressure. But the way they do it is very different from one another. And I do like the style matchup much better. Could be opposed to Islam.
Okay. When I was hearing some interviews from Islam's side, from Khabib either or Javier Mendez, I wonder, I don't know if you want to delve into that, but they were saying, for example, Javier Mendez thought that in his opinion, Islam can do whatever he wants with Dustin. And I wonder, is it still being confident or maybe just crossing a little bit the line and being arrogant or looking past Dustin?
I hope so. I hope he's looking past him. It sounds like he could be. I think that would be a dangerous mistake. I mean, look at look at this guy's resume, look at the guys he's beat. That would be a big mistake. But I hope so.
And of course, for Polish fans, big news that Mateusz Gamrot will be in his corner. A great thing to see how they are bonding each other and pushing each other to the top. I don't know if you are ready for. I don't know. Maybe you know it from the mat, but I've seen Mateusz in a corner at the Polish events in KSW, and he's like a volcano of energy. And even he yesterday told me that he thinks about himself, how he has to control his emotions.
He's great energy. He has pushed Dustin to another level. He's just been so good for this camp and so good for the last camp. You know, that was a big part of, well, I guess that wasn't, I guess it's not a big part, but they both had great success. The last camp, they were lucky enough. They were training for the same date, and their opponents, both guys' opponents, were stylistically close enough to one another that it made sense for them to train with one another all the time. And they really pushed to another level. And then they both had, very successful fights. They both fought and both beat very tough world-class fighters. And we're going to keep that going. We're going to keep these guys together. And, the cliche iron sharpens iron, but these guys are definitely making one another much, much better. Gamrot's striking is getting much better, much tighter, and Dustin's anti-wrestling is getting better by the day.
Yeah, okay. And how about guillotines? I've just seen the UFC countdown, and when there were pieces from last fight, I think that Dustin even might. He looked a little bit angry when you told him no more guillotines.
Yeah, he was just, I think, trying to convince me that he can hit it. I think they bleeped it out. I said, "Oh, you crazy bastard." That's what I said.
They beeped it, unfortunately.
Yeah. I said, "You crazy bastard," just because, I know how he is. It's like, and it was. He had a good bid, and I get where he's coming from. It was tight, but it was that wasn't the right move. You were destroying him on the feet. It was only a matter of time until you knocked him out. Why keep giving this guy a chance?
Yeah, I've heard Grant Dawson telling that, and even Mateusz told that his guillotine is really tight, and he submitted these guys on the mat, but it just never happened during this fight. But maybe that's why he have so much confidence in that move.
Yeah, but there's no reason to go for it when you're destroying the guy on the feet.
Definitely.
You can hit the guillotine. You can also knock him out. And when you're trying to knock him out, it's not going to put you on your back. So, for me, it kind of didn't make sense to go for the guillotine. But, Dustin is who he is, and you'll never break that man.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why he's so much beloved among the fans. And just let me get back to this corner thing and to Mateusz. He told me, not in this interview, but many years ago, that he's so much stressful when he's in the corner because he also is a fighter, and he wants to jump into the action to do something more impactful, and he can only shout and encourage his colleague. And you've been also a fighter, so I wonder how difficult was it for you, maybe during the first years as a coach? I know that you are now much more used to that, but at the beginning it might have been a horror for you.
No, sometimes you are, you're more anxious as a coach than you are as a fighter. Sometimes I say this a lot. When I was a young fighter, any nerves I would have going into the fight would be gone once I was warm. Once you're sweating and you got your blood pumping, right? You're that nervous energy goes away because you're hot and you're sweaty and you kind of got that endorphin rush of a runner's high. But you don't get that as a coach because you're not really warming up to that degree. So you kind of always have that, you're a little stressed out on those big fights and the ones that, there's a lot at stake, and there's, that it's a dangerous game, and one punch can change everything for anybody.
Yeah. So, just thought about how dangerous this game is, and I wanted to go back for a moment, just for the last to the last Mateusz fight, because we didn't have a chance to talk about this fight after the event. When we are talking before the event in the Miami, you've told a great thing, and I must tell you, I've done many MMA interviews, but this one quote is one of my favorites, that the stakes are high and the gloves are so small. And I think that fight, which Mateusz had, showed it how much is it truthful, because I think he was having a great, maybe not great, but he was doing good in the stand-up. But once he got shot, once he got hit, he just went for the wrestling, for takedowns, because this is his best skills and ability.
Yeah. I remember him telling me what happened there. He level changed and he ran right into a kick. So he hitting a little level change and a kick hit him, and he didn't even see it hit him. So he got like hurt, a little bit wobbled, and he didn't even know what hit him. So he was like a little bit confused. So obviously he wanted to win the fight. So I know he wasn't happy. I thought he had a really good performance, a great performance, but he wasn't happy with it. He wanted more striking. He wanted more action, more excitement. But at the end of the day, you got to make sure you win that fight. And the more risks you take, the less your chances go. But he just was grappling more than he would have liked to. But it was because he got hit with a big kick that he didn't see, and he really wasn't certain even what hit him. So at that point, he had to be cautious because he didn't want to get hit with that again.
Do you think that maybe U.S. public is too harsh for him, because the fans maybe didn't like the fight, and even Mateusz was critical about his about the entertainment level, not how he fought, but of course now he's. For some fans, he's compared to Belal Muhammad, but hey, if that's the way to fight for the belt, as Belal did it, and he will fight for the belt, it's the good road, right?
I be you, man. Gamrot has got to be himself. He doesn't have to change his style, dude. He is arguably. I mean, it's tough because we have so many great guys. But he's absolutely one of the best lightweights in the world. And I think he'll have his hand raised with that championship belt before he's done, whether it's now, whether it's next year, time will tell. But he doesn't have to change anything. Just keep doing what he's doing, keep getting better. And if people don't like wrestling in a mixed martial art fights, then go watch kickboxing. They got a sport for you. It's kickboxing. Why does nobody watch kickboxing? Because MMA is what it's all about. The true test of a man with as many weapons as possible. And that's the most raw, primitive, real form of combat. And limiting yourself to techniques that make the crowd cheers is silly. You got to do whatever gets you the win in a fight, and it's the other guy's responsibility to learn how to get back to his feet.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. So I want to finish this interview with Dustin topic, because this is the most important one. So just before we get back to this fight, I have one question. Kayla Harrison debuted on the UFC 300. Fantastic, great fashion, and she encouraged, she maybe encouraged Amanda to get back, as we could see on social media. And you've all, of course, coached Amanda. So how would you feel if this fight materialized?
We'll see when we get there. As of right now, Amanda is retired. I think if she wanted to come back, Kayla would be more than willing to fight her. And this is, Kayla has always wanted the biggest and toughest challenges she could get. She always had that mindset. If anything, it's it's the coaches and her management that have been holding her back from coming to the UFC earlier than she did. You know, she wanted to go there a lot earlier, but it was my recommendation and our management recommendation that we wanted to keep her over in PFL longer, keep developing, keep making good money. And then we thought it was time, you know, but she always wants big challenges. So if somebody, a great champion like Amanda, wanted to fight her, then she would welcome it.
Would you be torn about this matchup because you have so many memories and success with Amanda?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always against teammate versus teammate. I've always been against it. I hate it. I don't like it. But at the end of the day, Amanda's no longer part of American Top Team, so that's not the case any longer. Okay, so let's move on and get back to Dustin. As I said, the most important thing and the topic of this interview. There is this narrative that it might be his last fight, and of course, I think Dustin a little bit welcomes it. What I mean, he doesn't deny it, maybe like that. So, are you maybe frustrated with this idea and with these rumors, or it's a part of career and it's fine? Yeah. I've heard it. I've heard these things before. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if it is or if it's not. But I've heard rumblings of these things before, and you know, you never know. I know he's accomplished everything he wants to accomplish. I know he's got a ton of money. He's very, happy where he's at. He's set. He's got businesses in line to take care of him. He's financially stable. His family is financially stable. So it's not for the money. It'll be up to him if he still has that itch or if that itch has been satisfied, you know, so we'll never really know until after the fact. But I think it's his way of saying, I'm content and proud of everything I've done and I don't need to accomplish anymore. And I get that. Will he fight again? Honestly, I'm not sure. You know, I've thought before that this one might be the last one for him, and I was dead, and he fought several more times after that. So you never know.
Yeah. So this will be his third shot at the undisputed title. Do you think that comparing Dustin now and to these last two fights, is it more about getting better as a fighter and sharpening tools to win this title, or maybe it's like growing as a person and a fighter mentally to become ready for that?
It's just executing on the night, right? Like he's always had the skill, and obviously on any given night he could have beat any of those guys, and there were times where I was certain he was going to win and he didn't, and there was times that I thought it might be tough and he pulled it out. But it's just about executing on that given night, on the, being sharp for those 25 minutes.
And the last things from me, I know it's hard to pick because he has so many fantastic fights in the UFC, but if you could pick your favorite Dustin fight.
Ooh, wow, that's tough. That's a tough one. Man.
Yeah, not easy to pick, but
maybe Connor too.
Okay. And why? Is it because how big name is?
The magnitude of it, and the redemption, the fact that he had been knocked out before, and to be able to get that one back.
Okay, so I must say maybe not the obvious pick, but I love the Dan Hooker fight. Even though it was decision, even though it was Apex, that was fantastic.
I thought of that. That was up in there. I was thinking of Hooker. That was an amazing fight. But I always say this, imagine how special that fight would have been in front of a crowd. The fight was unbelievably good, but it doesn't have that same feel when there's nobody there. It was still unbelievable. It was probably the same on TV, but if there was a crowd there, people would have been going bonkers. You know, it would have been insane. They were going insane for the small amount of people that were in there, but it's a couple hundred compared to like 20,000.
Yeah, definitely.
But no. A special fight, and it shows what Dustin's all about. So
the last two for me, the next one, favorite knockout. Is it the same Conor, or just rating a knockout you see something bigger and better?
Favorite knockout?
Yeah.
You know, part of me was just like so impressed with like when he bumped up to lightweight and just started smashing guys, like just how easily he made it look with guys like Diego Ferreira, who was so good, and like, you know, he was a little bit worried about coming up to lightweight, and he just made it look so easy against a guy who was really good, a really good at that time. He had only one loss, and then he lost to DP, and then he still went on another big run. It just shows how good he was. And then guys like Bobby Green and Yancy Medeiros, he was just like smashing like really good fighters. It just impressed me how he was putting away these really good guys pretty quickly.
Yeah, and your favorite submission, if you have any? I think it's more like from featherweight times, right?
Yeah. No, maybe I'm going to say the Chandler submission, the Chandler rear naked. It was in recent memory, and we were in a situation where after the first round, I thought there's no way we lose this fight. Then after the second round, I was like, oh no, this is anybody's fight now, right? One takedown could do it. But you know, Chandler tried to get him down, and he made the right adjustment, took the back, and put him away with that rear naked. So that was pretty sweet.
Okay, so Mike, I hope that after this weekend, either of us will have to change any of these picks. Either the favorite fight or favorite knockout. I wish you all the best, and I really think that of all these fighters that didn't get the belt, by now Dustin deserves it, and it will be like a Hollywood story to get it already. So really wish you all the best during this fight during this fight weekend. I hope that to see you in the cage with the belt on Dustin waist.
The stage is set, so it's time to make it happen.